Kakadosh Boker Or Shavua Tov Masechet Nedarim Daf Amud Aleph 88A1. We're just going to start on the Mishnah on the bottom of page Zayin Amud Bet. If you remember, we were talking about when it says, what happens if a husband says, Yudani Sheyesh Nedarim Ovelim Dia Sheyesh Mefirin Yafer. A husband comes and he says, listen, I understand that a person can make a neder, but I didn't know I could do Hafarat Nedarim to my wife's Nedarim. I didn't know I could come and start annulling her vows. Yafer, he's allowed to do Hafarat Nedarim. Why? That means even though if it happened a few days later, and then you said, well, why didn't you do a Hafarat Nedarim? He said, what's that? He says, your wife made a neder. Yeah. You know it's a neder? Of course it's a neder. But why didn't you do Hafarat? What's Hafarat? You explain it to him. I didn't know I could do that. Now he could do it. No problem. Next part of the Mishnah, if a person comes and he says, I know that there's mefirim, but I don't know that there's a neder, Rabbi Meir says, Lo yafer, you should not do Hafarat Nedarim, because since it already passed the time, it passed the time. Chachamim yafer. Chachamim say, you could do Hafarat Nedarim. Says the Gemara, Urminu, we have a contradiction, Belo re'ot. What does that mean? It says, O bechol even asher yamut bah. Right? Belo re'od v'yaper alav v'yamot. Prat lesuma. A suma that he comes and he kills. Suma is a blind person. If he comes and he kills b'shogeg, he's not chayav galut. Okay? Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Meir says, lerabot et suma. It comes to include the suma. So you see here, there's going to be, we know that if a person kills b'shogeg, he goes to the miklat, correct? The city of refuge. Okay, very good. Now here we're talking about there's going to be a machlok between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir. What happens in the case of somebody that's blind and he kills b'shogeg? Does he go to an Eid miklat or does he not go to an Eid miklat? So Amar Rava Pechet Amud Aleph 88a. So Amar Rava comes and he says, don't ask a contradiction between killing by accident and Hafarat Nedarim. Hacha minyana dekra vehacha minyana dekra, which means, look at the pasuk. In each one of them, the pasuk will indicate to you something different, right? Why? He's going to explain. Rabbi Yehuda holds gaberotzeach, to do with killing by accident. It says, v'asher yavo et reo bayar, when somebody comes into the forest with his friend to start cutting down trees. Yeah, and all of a sudden, the axe slips off and kills someone. Yeah, and he kills him. Hu yanus el achat ha'arim ha'ele v'chai. Kol davar sheme'al la'ya'ar. Anybody that could come into the ya'ar is going to be chayav galut. V'sumanami bar me'al yaru. Right? It's also going to be, what? Right now, a suma could also go. Can a blind person go into the forest? Anybody could go into the forest. It's not prohibited. The yamar tana'ah, you come and you say, Belo re'ot, that he did not see his friend. The rabot et asuma, miyar nafkale, you learn from yar. El shema mina belo re'ot, prat lesuma. It comes to say that a suma is going to be patur from onesh kalut. Rabbi Meir comes and he argues and he says, ketiv bivli da'at, without knowledge. Kol davar meida, anything that a person has da'at, the suma, but a suma does not have da'at. A person that's blind, he doesn't have da'at. The yamarta, now you're going to tell me now below re'ot that you couldn't see prat lesuma comes to exclude a suma. You already learned that from Lidat.
Why Suma doesn't know that?
Because a Suma, a person that is blind, he does not have 100% knowledge of what's going on. And therefore, he's considered a person that is Lav Bar Da'at.
Suma meleda or Suma?
Even afterwards. Suma in itself. Huh?
It's Avinu.
You just said that a suma is lav bar da'at, and you told me that you wanted to exclude because of below re'ot. You already learned from blidat. And a shema mina below re'ot comes to include a suma that he is going to be chayav in galut if he kills accidentally. That means each one was taking a different part of the pasuk and learning whether you're including a suma or you're excluding a suma from galut if he killed accidentally. Okay, fine. Mishnah Pechet Amud Aleph. Mishnah on the bottom. It says hamadira na'a mechatano. Imagine right now, he doesn't like his son-in-law. So he makes a neder, nothing to the son-in-law. But now he wants to give his daughter money. Yeah, he wants to give his daughter money. So how is he going to do that? So Mela, he comes and he says to her, this is a present for you, on condition that your husband has nothing to do with it. Because usually, whatever the wife requires goes straight to the husband. But here, he's making it on condition This is a present for you on condition that your husband has nothing to do with it.
They give house only to the daughter.
Yeah, well, nowadays it's a little bit different also, but okay, yes. Right? But rather it should be for that which you're buying for yourself, for food or whatever it is, and therefore the husband is not going to be zocheh in such a present. So Amar Rav comes and he says, only if he tells her that it's something, specifically to buy for yourself, something. Aval Amar, but if he said, do whatever you want with it, the Baal is zocheh in this item. Shmuel Amar, and Shmuel says, no, even if you do not say, Afilu Amar, Kana Yaton Habal. He does acquire. By the way, you should know, it's very, very similar to do with Ma'aser. For example, you come and you give your child, $1 million. Do they have to give Ma'aser?
Huh?
You come and you give your child money.
He need to give Maseches?
Yes. Does your child have to give Ma'aser?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
You give already the Maaser on the 1 million.
It doesn't matter, but you give it to your child now.
So you
You made a money.
In the same million, you give
No. We're not talking about that your child is under you. Let's say a married child. You come and you give to your married child money.
like
you say it's Maser?
Exactly. Like a wedding presents. They have to give Maaser. The same thing. If they get from their parents money, they have to give Maaser. Why? Because it's considered an income.
Tuition is Maser?
No, tuition no.
Right?
Right? We'll speak about tuition in another question. One second. So now what happens is like this. So you have to give the money to Maaser, which means, why? What's the difference whether it came my papa or my big papa? They're all papa. Whether it comes from Hashem or comes from my father, at the end of the day, it's coming. There's one exception to the rule. If your father gives you something for a specific reason, meaning he says, here, buy yourself a car. Here, buy yourself a couch. Here, this is for your rent payment. Here, this is that. There, you don't have to give Maaser. You do not have to give Maaser in that case. Right? Why? Right? Why? Because we're not talking about are you allowed to use that as Maaser. One more time. Rabbi Zira comes and he asks the following question. 88b. 88b, are you listening? It says like this, 88b. Yeah. So 88b, it says, Kiman azla hashmata de Rav. Who does it go like this, that what Rav says? Like Rabbi Meir. The Amar yad isha yad bala. The hand of the woman is like the hand of the husband. When we have a contradiction. How do you do with shituf mevuot? Remember that in the olden days, you would have a mavui, right? And then you would want to do shituf mevuot. Shituf mevuot means that I want to carry within the common area. So maniach et chaviv omer. So I'm going to put the chavit of wine, and I'm going to say, it belongs to everybody. And you could do zikui through your servant, or your maidservant, the Jewish ones, or through your son, your daughter, even Gdolim, and even through your wife. So you see from here that even your wife has her own hand, because she's doing the zikui for everybody else. Now, if you're going to tell me now, that whatever she acquires, the husband acquires, so it never went out of his reshut. For example, one more time, everyone's looking. One more time, I have to do eruvet tavshilin. Now remember that as a rabbi, I have the obligation of doing eruvet tavshilin not only for myself, for everybody. So now, but I have to make a kinyan. What do you mean a kinyan? I have to acquire it to everybody. So I have matzah, right? And you have, let's say, an egg, right? And you come and you do with the matzah and the egg, or whatever, which is the tavshil and the matzah. You come and you do eruvet tavshilin. What do? You have to give it to somebody to acquire it. Now here it says you can give it even to your wife. One second. If you give it to your wife, it's still yours. Yeah. So if it's still yours, it never came out of your reshut. So how do you say after? No. I acquired it to everybody in the mavui, and now I'm doing shituvei mevo. That doesn't work. So Rava says, even though we said that the hand of a woman is like the hand of the husband, here, you're right. Whatever the woman acquires, the husband acquires. But here the husband wants purposely that she should acquire it to other people. So here Rabbi Meir is modeh, he admits that if you're giving it to the wife in order to acquire it for other people, it's going to be okay. Okay, so 8th, right? Ravina l'Ravashi, ask Ravina to Ravashi, Elu shezachin lahen, al-yedei beno v'ito kedolim v'do shvichato v'elu shezachin lahem, al-yedei beno v'ito kedolim v'do shvichato kedolim. Says 1 second, so here it says mefurash, you cannot do it through your wife. So what's going on? Because here, the first one said that you could be mizakeh through your eved and shivcha ha'ivrim, your Jewish slaves, right? And then you cannot do it through who? Through your children, or your eved and shivcha Kanaani, and your wife. So he says, Rashi says, it says, no. The Mishnah that says that the husband could be mizakeh through his wife is where the woman also has a chatzer in that mavui, and it's hers privately. So therefore, migu, that she could be zochah for herself, she could be zocheh to other people. Meaning, if the woman does not have another property in that place and everything belongs to the husband, she cannot be zochah for other people. But if she does have another property in that mavui, therefore, migu, that she could come and she could acquire it for herself, because she also wants to be part of the shituf mavot, she could also acquire it for other people as well. Okay? With that, we finish. The Gemara says the Mishnah, or we know we'll finish here.